Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to the Boise Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. We are a spiritually diverse, justice-seeking religious community proclaiming the power of love at the core of our living tradition. Love of neighbor, love for ourselves, and love for our planet. Whoever you are and wherever you are in your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Whatever faiths you have known, if any, whatever doubts you carry, you are welcome here. Whomever you love, however you identify, you are welcome here. Everyone is welcome here. I'm the Reverend Sara LaWall. I use she, her pronouns. I am honored to serve as your minister for this beloved community. I'm joined this morning by Carrie Ogburn, who is serving as our celebrant, who helped me think about the crafting of today's service, as Carol, together with Ann Bolyard, are the leaders of our small full circle group. It's a small group ministry that explores end-of-life needs and planning and experiences. And they meet on the second Thursday of each month, and they'll be starting again in December. So if that's something that interests you, you're welcome to join them. But they were really the seeds of inspiration for today's service on grief and gratitude. Let's take a moment to welcome each other. First to our Zoom family who's worshiping on Zoom. As you know, we invite you to turn your cameras on if you're able so that we can welcome you into this space. Good morning, Marlise and Carol. I have to read these names. Good morning, Tony. Good morning, Edith. Good morning, Waitos. It's good to see you. Good morning, Deborah. Good morning, Teresa and Ellen. Thank you all for joining us this morning, reminding us that we worship together as one beloved community beyond the walls of our sanctuary. And for those of us gathered here in person, take a moment to turn to the people next to you, seek out someone you don't really know well, introduce yourself. All right, I invite you to continue these enthusiastic conversations with all the new friends you've met this morning during our hospitality time after the service. I want to offer a special welcome to our friends from Boise First United Church of Christ and their confirmation class who are visiting us today. Please say hello to them. You can ask them about their experiences as they have been visiting different faith communities across the valley as part of their confirmation process. Thank you for choosing us, friends. We're delighted to have you here. We're almost like cousins, you know, the UCC and the UU. And a special welcome to our newcomers, those of you who are joining us for the first or second time. We know it takes a lot of courage to check out a new community. We are so glad you have chosen us. And we invite you to introduce yourselves to us more if you want to meet more people during our hospitality time, or in the chat if you're with us on Zoom, so that we can warmly welcome you. We have some newcomer forms, cards that we'd like you to fill out in our entryways, and we'll post a link in our chat. And those will allow us to keep you up to date with all that is happening here in our fellowship. A reminder that our Inquirer series for newcomers continues. This week we're meeting in my office with an informal Q&A together with me for all of our newcomers. You're invited to join after the service and that's something that we'll be starting on the first Sunday of every month, a little informal meet and greet. The other announcement I want to remind you all of is that immediately, well, as close to immediately after the service as we can with coffee and setup, we have our congregational town hall today with your board and your congregational financial sustainability task force, who are going to share with you and want to get some input with you as we explore how we move forward after the sale of our Chelan property, which just went through. So let's take a moment to say a huge thank you to the board and the leaders who really helped steward that sale. There was a small task force on the board, including Bob Smith, Sue Langley, and Rob Ham, who really did the bulk of that work. So thank you all. Congratulations. Each week, we begin our time of worship together, centering and grounding ourselves by lighting our flaming chalice, the symbol of our free faith, a beacon of hope, love, and justice. We light our chalice in solidarity with thousands of other Unitarian Universalists lighting chalices across the globe, reminding us that we are connected to a great community of faith and love. We have a young first-time chalice lighter this morning. We invite a young person to light the chalice to remind us of our collective promise in building a future of thriving for all of us. As Tamarack lights the chalice here in the sanctuary, you're gonna come on forward. I invite those of you on Zoom to light your chalices or a candle nearby if you have one. How exciting, it's your first time, that's amazing. So that everyone can see you. I want to introduce you as a first-time chalice lighter to the congregation. Friends, this is Tamarack Tobiason, 5 years old. Tamarack, I understand that you love dragons, unicorns. Who loves dragons and unicorns? Yes? Look at how many friends you have. I also have right here, Tamarack likes fart jokes. Who likes fart jokes? You love to swim and dance and read. 5 years ago today, I want to share this all with you, Tamarack was diagnosed with cancer, and today she is a proud cancer survivor and a happy, healthy kindergartner at Seven Oaks Elementary. Tamarack, thank you. This is your chalice pin for you for being a first-time chalice lighter. Thanks for joining us this morning. You did a great job. I neglected to mention that Tamarack is also the daughter of Colleen Smith. Friends, I invite us to rise, embody your spirit. Our gathering hymn this morning is a new hymn, again from the UUA's new virtual hymnal, Sing Out Love. This is a redux, a new version of For the Beauty of the Earth, and so Carrie's gonna talk us through it with some leaders from the choir. It's okay to stand. It's okay.
It might be easier if you sit for a bit, because yeah. All right. So we have just a little instruction that needs to happen first before we launch in. And hopefully as we go through it, it will make sense. What part you sing over the next month is going to depend on where you sit in the room. So if there's a part that you really like, starting next week, you can try to sit there. Or maybe you want to mix it up and get a different place. We're going to go through each of the parts once, so at least you're familiar with them. And you'll notice on your lead sheet, it shows part 1, part 2, and part 3. So we're gonna start with part 1, which is our core chant. I'm gonna start it, and as soon as you feel like you've got the hang of it, please join me. Goes like this. For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies, for the beauty of the earth. Good, thank you. So that's all you do. Over and over, okay? That's part 1. Part 2, we're gonna kind of make a bird and a layer cake, all right? The bird comes later. The layer cake, we add another part on top. So while this part is happening, part 2 is this. Grateful we raise, grateful we praise, grateful we raise, grateful we praise. Thanks, good, and then you sing that twice. Part 3 is outside my range, so I'm gonna sing it an octave lower, but feel free to sing it up here if you're a soprano or a tenor. Here's part 3. Source we raise, our hymn of praise. Source we raise, our hymn of praise. Great. All right, so that's the musical layer cake. Each part will build on. Here's the bird part. If you look down at the bottom, it tells you the form of the piece. And hopefully it will be easy as you see the slides. I think we're on the third. Oh, okay, you're gonna go back, okay. So at the very beginning, think of yourself as all part of a giant bird, and we all sing the body, the main chant, for the beauty of the earth. We all sing that. Then, when we layer on part 2, we are going to have the middle of the congregation, so from about right here to up just on the other side of Patty, you are going to hang on to the main chant. So you are holding down the fort. For the beauty of the, and you just stay there. Then the wings of the bird, that'll start right about here and over, and from Patty over, and Patty, you might want to go that way a little bit. There we go. Okay, so the wings are going to break off and start singing the Grateful We Raise, while folks in the middle hold down the fort, okay? Then on the very last one, and we'll flip the slide, all 3 of these are happening simultaneously. The middle group is hanging on to the main chant. The wings right here are singing the Grateful We Raise, and then we will add the tips of the wings. So all the folks way over on this side and way over on that side, you're gonna sing that Source We Raise, and you'll have some folks in front of you to help you. Note that each time you sing a line of the chant, you repeat it. That's the repeat brackets on either side. Once we've got all 3 layers going, the bird has spread its wings, then we clip the tips. Next slide, please. Okay? Then those of you that were singing part 3 are gonna go back to part 2, okay? So I'll turn about here out. Part 2, hang on to 1. Final time through, everybody's back to the main chant. So visually, think of it as 1, we add 2, then 3, then it contracts. We go back to 1 and 2, and then we contract all the way back to 1. So it kind of blooms, comes back in. And here's the good news. If you get lost and sing the part you're not supposed to be singing at the wrong time, it's all okay because it all harmonizes. And we've got a few folks from the choir that are going to help you with your group. Those of you that are hanging on to the root chant, you're going to follow Reverend Sara, and Robin's going to help out too. Okay, so just hang on to that chant. There will be a 4-measure introduction, and then here we go. All right.
Easy peasy, friends. You got this. Let's rise in body or spirit now. That was entertaining.
We come from and live on land considered sacred by many indigenous peoples, known as Bannock, Shoshone, Paiute, and many other tribes that lived here sustainably for thousands of years, inhabiting a vast region including much of Idaho.
We recognize the long history of the land, long before colonization, and acknowledge the ancient tribes whose names have been lost in history.
With this acknowledgement, we wish to demonstrate our commitment to dismantling the legacies of settler colonialism. We honor Indigenous peoples' connection to the land and support their right to sovereignty.
In the challenges of these truths, may we move through the world bringing justice in every way that we can, listening to the truths spoken to us by Native American peoples, making space for them to re-inhabit this place, and giving them back the resources they need to heal their communities.
I am delighted you enjoyed that so very much. You did a beautiful job. We're going to sing it every Sunday this month, so we're going to get really good at it. Our spiritual theme for this new month of November is nurturing gratitude. And today our service explores the connection between grief and gratitude. When we allow ourselves to fully experience grief, gratitude takes root, deepening our capacity for joy and compassion and love. Today's service is about making that space for grief, the personal grief, the collective grief, and to do so in community through the power of ritual, with this beautiful grief and remembrance altar here. So as we enter into this time of grief and gratitude together, let's breathe together. Fill your body with breath. Breathe, knowing that our breath connects us to the deepest part of ourselves. Our breath opens us up to that inner wisdom, tuning into our spiritual center, to that deep well of joy and sorrow, of grief and gratitude, inviting us to listen deeply to our heart's own longing. As you hear the words of our opening poem this morning, I invite you to hear those thines and thous as spoken to grief. Thou art the song of my heart in the morning. Thou art the dawn of truth in my soul. Thou art the dew of the roses adorning. Thou art the woven whole. Thine is the grace to be steadfast in danger. Thine is the peace that none can destroy. Thine is the face of the need-riven stranger. Thine are the wings of joy. Thou art the deep to the deep in me calling. Thou art a lamp where my feet shall tread. Thy way is steep past the peril of falling. Thou art my daily bread. Thine be the praise of my spirit uplifted. Thou art the sea to each flowing stream. Thine be the days that are gathered and sifted. Thou art the deathless dream.
Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Holy breath and holy name. Will you ease this pain? Holy breath and holy name. Will you ease this pain? Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go.
I don't know about you, but I need a breath after that. It was so powerful. Our call to worship this morning is from Adrienne Marie Brown. Remember, you are water. Of course you leave salt, tears, and trails. Of course you are crying. Flow. If there happens to be a multitude of griefs upon you, individual and collective, or fast and slow, or small and large, add equal parts of these considerations. The broken heart can cover more territory. Perhaps love can only be as large as grief commands. Grief is the growing up of the heart that bursts boundaries like an old skin or a finished life. Grief is gratitude, and water seeks scale. Even your tears seek the recognition of community. The heart is a front line, and the fight is to feel. In a world of distraction, death might be the only freedom. Your grief is a wild use of your time. Your body will feel only as much as it is able to. The ones you grieve may be grieving you. The sacred comes from the limitations. You are excellent at loving. You are excellent at loving.
Friends, I would like to invite our young people who are with us to come forward for our Time for All Ages. We're going to come to the center here, and we can flow down the aisle a little bit so that you all can see our beautiful altar table. Yeah, you can sit up here. You can squish down the aisle. Good morning. Welcome. Yes, UCC friends, come down. Come and join us. This beautiful altar table here is a grief and remembrance altar. And that is our topic for today, is grief. Who knows what grief really means? Can any of you kind of give me a little, like, what is grief? Anyone want to take a stab at that? It's a tricky one. Nobody? I don't have any helpers today? Travis, I'm going to pick on you.
Okay.
What's grief?
It is when the feelings that come over you when you lose something or someone.
The feelings that you experience when you lose something or someone, when someone or in your life dies. It's beyond that feeling of sadness. It's that much, much, much deeper pain. How many of you have ever experienced that loss? The death of someone in your life, or the loss of something that was really important to you? It doesn't have to be a person. And you have felt that like thing in your gut that rises up within you that is more than sadness. Have you felt that? That it just feels really, really deep and sometimes kind of icky and sticky, right? And so when those feelings happen, it can be really hard to know what to do. And sometimes they just kind of sit around in there and they make us feel bad, and we don't always really know why we feel bad. But what can be really helpful is to just have a moment, a ritual, to just acknowledge those feelings of grief and deep sadness and loss. I come from a Jewish background. My grandparents were Jewish. And in the Jewish tradition, when somebody dies, when people go to visit their gravestone in a cemetery, they put a stone on top of the headstone. And that stone symbolizes this sort of everlasting nature of memory. It shows the respect of visiting the person where they're buried. And a stone is different than maybe flowers that someone would bring, which we also bring to the graveside too. But what makes a stone different than, say, flowers? You can't break it, yes. I heard something else out here too. They last longer. The flowers die and wither and wilt, and the stone stays for ever, perhaps, or a very, very long time. And so over the course of lifetimes, you might see someone from a Jewish background with a gravestone that has a pile of stones on top. Did you have a question?
What happens if it turns into sand?
Well, then that's just what nature does, right? And we just accept that because that's part of the whole cycle of life, and that could very well happen. Yeah.
What if the memory goes away?
Oh, do you think the memory goes away?
Maybe.
It could. It's possible. Sometimes our memories fade, but the hope is that that memory will last forever. And so I want to invite you into that ritual today. I have some stones in this basket here, and I am going to invite you to pick a stone and think about a person, or maybe you've lost a pet, or maybe whatever that deep, deep loss and grief is for you. Think about that for a moment, and then I'm going to invite you to place your stone here on the altar. Okay? So that I'm going to have you stand up, because you're going to need to stand up to do this. And I'm going to sit right here, and you can come and get your stone from me. And you can just take your time to place it on the altar. Good job. Sometimes when we're placing stones, we can pour all of our sadness into the stone, all of those sticky, icky feelings. Here you go. You can stay standing, you can sit back down. Just let's put our stones up. You all will come to the altar and notice that many of the stones are here in front of the picture of this beautiful dog. And I'm just going to invite us all to take a moment to look at the altar and just have a collective breath and reflection together. Sometimes it can be really hard to express our grief to ourselves, to other people. But it's really important to take those times to do that, to share the stories, to share the feelings, to let yourself cry if you cry, and don't worry about it if you don't. And sometimes it really helps to do that with people that we know and care about and that care about us in a community like this. It can help us feel like we're not alone when we experience that kind of grief. Because grief is a part of life. It doesn't end today, right? It will continue. I'm sorry to say you'll have lots more of it in your lifetimes. But hopefully, you will have a good understanding of how you can tend to yourself when the grief comes and how you can help others when they experience grief. Thanks, friends. That's our time for all ages today. Before you run out, let's sing together our community blessing.
Often in the midst of grief, we feel welling up of gratitude for all that is in our life and all that we have. We can more fully appreciate the abundance that surrounds us and tend to that abundance through our generosity. The kind of generosity that helps us build bridges and partnerships while also tending to the roots of this community. Today, we share our gifts with our plate partner, the Confederated Tribes of Duck Valley Reservation, as an expression of that commitment and living out our faith in the world. I invite the ushers to come forward, and our offering will be gratefully received.
As our ushers bring our offering gifts forward, I invite all of us to join together in the collective blessing of our offering this morning. We bless these gifts so freely given. May generosity always be our companion as we walk the holy path toward ever greater compassion and beauty.
Our reading this morning is from Rosemary Watola Tromer. For when people ask, I want to know a word that means okay and not okay. More than that, a word that means devastated and stunned with joy. I want the word that says, I feel it all at once. The heart is not like a songbird, singing only one note at a time, more like a Tavan throat singer, able to sing both a drone and simultaneously 2 or 3 harmonics high above it. A song, the Tavans say, that gives the impression of wind swirling through rocks. The heart understands swirl, how the churning of opposites, feelings, weaves through us like an insistent breeze, leads us wordlessly deeper into ourselves, blesses us with paradox, so we might walk more openly into this world so rife with devastation, this world so ripe with joy.
I invite us all to join together in our hymn for reflection, which I'll invite us to do seated. It's hymn number 1006 in the teal hymnal, and words also on our screen, In My Quiet Sorrow. What I didn't tell our young people was that my grandmother died when I was just 13 years old, and I adored my grandmother. I spent every single Friday night with my grandparents, every single Friday night of my childhood. And so my grandma was a significant force in my life. She was a source of unconditional love and comfort and joy when I was growing up. And she spoiled me rotten. First grandchild. And her death was the first major loss of someone truly beloved that I'd experienced, and it changed me. She'd been very sick and hospitalized for some time. My mom and I and other family members were making daily pilgrimages to the hospital, and the night that I decided not to go was the night she died. And I was racked with guilt that I didn't get to see her one last time and truly say goodbye. The grief of her death felt so intense, so profound, so overwhelming. I didn't tell a single soul outside my family for over a year. It wasn't until I wrote about it in an essay for my English class the following year that I expressed any of the sorrow and pain that I still carried with me. Like so many of us, I never learned how to grieve. Although my grandparents were Jewish, I don't have any memory of sitting Shiva, that beautiful Jewish tradition of a week of mourning when family members remain at home, often in prayer and reflection while visitors come with food to share stories. It's a beautiful ritual. But if you don't belong to a culture or a faith tradition that practices these grieving rituals regularly, and even if you do, our Western culture certainly subverts them because we are not taught about grief and grieving. What we are taught, implicitly or explicitly, what I certainly internalized as a 13-year-old, is that we can and should muscle through. That grief is meant to be a private, solitary burden. Don't blather your pain and sadness onto anyone. That we should get over it and get through it. But any of us who have experienced grief of any kind know how impossible that is. Add to that a Western aversion to big emotions, especially the negative ones, and anything that involves tears. And the result is that our grief gets repressed and pushed aside and stuck in our bodies. Many spiritual teachers and practitioners remind us that the more deeply we allow ourselves to feel and experience grief and all the sorrow and pain that comes with it, the greater our capacity to truly experience other emotions like joy and love. That's where the gratitude comes in. And I know that most of us, we know these things intellectually. We talk about how unexpressed grief is not helpful or healthy for our emotional and spiritual and physical well-being. But we still don't have enough spaces, or we still don't give ourselves the time and permission to truly express our grief and lean fully into whatever arises. Frances Weller, psychologist and grief specialist, author of The Wild Edge of Sorrow, asks, what if sorrow were a presence that's come to visit with us and be with us instead of something we have to get through? He writes, too often in modern times, grief becomes private, carrying an invisible mantle of shame, forcing our sorrow underground, hidden from the eyes that would offer healing. No one escapes suffering in this life. None of us is exempt from loss and pain or illness and death. So how is it that we have so little understanding of these essential experiences? How is it that we have attempted to keep grief separated from our lives and only begrudgingly acknowledge its presence at the most obvious of times, like a funeral? He goes on to say that if we can allow ourselves into a companionship with grief, an apprenticeship with sorrow, that we begin to stop fighting it. And we begin to see that it's actually the way in which our deepest selves come fully present. Grief was never meant to be carried and stored in our bodies. It's meant to move so we can stay current, so we can stay alive and present to the current of life as well. It's essential for us to welcome our grief, whatever form it takes, even when it's uncomfortable. And it will be uncomfortable. We should expect that, because we have been conditioned to be in control of our emotions, to rise above it, to keep on moving forward at all costs, but the costs to ourselves are high. I have felt the discomfort of grief for decades. My 13-year-old self was certainly attached to that strategy of control to keep it together, to keep up appearances for this sake of some distorted perceived goodness or the pursuit of achievement. I know now that I didn't have the tools or the language to name and process and feel my unexpressed grief. And still, like so many of us, I wrestle with that cultural conditioning even today to remain in control, to keep my grief private, despite being in a profession that centers connection and care and community and being in touch with one's soul. In so many ways, being in ministry offers me abundant opportunities to connect with grief, to learn about it, discover my own, and be with others in their grief, to practice that companionship that has been such a tremendous blessing for me. And in that practice, I keep learning there are so many different roads and paths that grief takes, so many different ways grief gets activated or cracked open within us. We've all experienced the grief that comes with personal loss, with the death of a beloved, but there are so many other ways that grief emerges in our lives. Francis Weller calls them the 5 gates of grief. The first gate is that deep truth that all that we love, we will lose. The second gate are the places that we did not receive love. The third are the sorrows of the world. The fourth is what we expected but did not receive. The fifth is ancestral grief, recognizing the pain we carry for those who came before us. Other grief experts have added trauma, the harm we cause to ourselves and to others, and anticipatory grief, the fear of what is to come. These gates of grief are a reminder that grief is everywhere. We cannot avoid it, nor can we separate it from our everyday lives, particularly right now, when I know we are feeling all kinds of grief spurred by all that is happening in our country, in the world, in our state, to so much of humanity, to our beloveds. Considering all of this, we can either try to dissociate from it or learn how to welcome it as a companion, knowing that doing so only helps us explore paths to our own healing, while activating that deep well of gratitude that welcoming grief inspires within us. Francis Weller says, grief is not here to take us hostage, but instead to reshape us in some fundamental way, to help us become our mature selves, capable of living in the creative tension between grief and gratitude. In so doing, our hearts are ripened and made available for the great work of loving our lives in this astonishing world. Grief is essential to finding and maintaining a feeling of emotional intimacy with life, with one another, and with our own soul. All the experts in grief teach two key components in welcoming and companioning with grief. First, that while grief is, in fact, a unique and individual experience for each of us, it must also be communal. Many ancient cultures share this wisdom, expressing grief in community, that it is a sacred process that must be shared. We need the energy and love and support of community to feel held, to be witnessed, to know that we are not alone in our experience, and to know that through communal care, it will be okay. It doesn't mean that there isn't space for individual work, only that both are necessary for a fully integrated experience with grief as we allow it to become our companion and teacher. The second component to welcoming grief is that it requires ritual. Because ritual invites us to shift out of a familiar mode of functioning and into an altered state of consciousness. And shared ritual makes it possible for all of us to engage in the work of grief in a sacred container that invites deep connection with our inner selves, with each other, with that which is larger than us, that ground of being, that which holds all. And that is what we are here to offer each other today, a communal space of ritual, a sacred container to welcome our grief, to invite it to be our companion in this apprenticeship of sorrow. This beautiful altar before you was put together by Carol Ogburn and Eileen Oldag of our chancel design team. We know this time of year is a sacred time of grief and remembrance in many different cultures, from Dia de los Muertos in Latinx cultures, to Samhain and Wiccan traditions, to Catholic and Orthodox All Souls Day, to Halotak Napia for our Transylvanian Unitarian siblings. All of the communal ritual celebrations are designed to open the gates of grief and remembrance so our souls can find a way through and invite grief in. So you are invited to interact with this altar, to give expression to the griefs you are carrying, to name and claim what you are grateful for, to remember those beloveds and ancestors whom you carry in your heart. In the seat back pockets, you'll find small colored papers and pens. You may use those to write a note or two of your choosing, or to use one of the prompts here on the screen. Zoom folks, we invite you to do this at home, and if you'd like to share it in the chat, you're welcome to. If you have brought a memento with you today, or if you have one at home, those of you in person can bring it forward to the altar, or you can select one of the objects on the altar as a touchstone. You can bring your notes forward to the altar. There are some push pins here, so you can affix them to some of the raised boxes or lay them on the altar whenever you're ready. Allow yourself some time to come and explore your own inner heart and this beautiful space of ritual. Let the grief come to you and sit with it. Listen to what it has to say to you. Feel it working within you. It is okay to be heartbroken. It is okay to not be okay. Part of our work as a beloved community is to hold this space gently for ourselves and for each other. So let's begin with a collective breath or two, and you can come forward whenever you are ready as the music plays.
You do
carry this all alone. No, you do not carry this all alone. This is way too big for you to carry this on your own. So you do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. No, you do not carry this all alone. This is way too big for you to carry this on your own. So you do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. This is way too big for you to carry this on your own. So you do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. This is way too big for you to carry this on your own. So you do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. You do not carry this all alone. This is way too big for you to carry this on your own. So you do not carry this all alone.
Enter the wild with care, my love, and speak the things you see. Let new names take and root and thrive and grow. And even as you travel far from heather, crag and river, may you, like the little fisher, set the stream alight with glitter. May you enter now as otter, without falter, into water. Look to the sky with care, my love, and speak things you see. Let new names take a root and thrive and grow. And even as you journey on, past dying stars exploding like the gilded one in flight, leave your little gifts of light. And in the dead of night, my darling, find the gleaming eye of starling. Like the little aviator, sing your heart to all dark matter. Walk through the world with care, my love, and sing the things you see. Let new names take and root and thrive and grow. And even as you stumble through Macher sands eroding, let the fern unfurl your grieving. Let the heron still your breathing. Let the silky swim you deeper. Oh, my little silver seeker. Even as the hour grows bleaker, be the singer and the speaker. And in city and in forest, let the larks become your chorus. And when every hope is gone, let the raven call you home. Hurricanes will come, earthquakes break the walls, oceans rise, empires fall into worlds light unshone. Follow heart, follow home. Here we are, light unshone. One round heart, one round home. Spin the speed of light, tetrahedron blue. One last paradise you can make for you. Into worlds light unshone. Follow heart, follow home. Here we are, light unshone. One round heart, one round home.
Let's take some collective breaths together. Let's take 3. hope this ritual allowed you to welcome and tend to the grief that lives inside even just a little bit. I acknowledge it is not long enough. Francis Weller reminds us that we can imagine grief walks beside us all the time, like a companion. And in that companionship, we can engage in an ongoing, tender conversation between us and grief, allowing it to teach us more about compassion, about connection, about love and vulnerability. I invite you to join me into the spirit of prayer and meditation. And for those of you that are comfortable and willing, I invite you to tend to yourself during this prayer by placing your hands over your heart. This is a prayer adapted from the words of Mark Nepo. Spirit of life and love, holy mystery. As we welcome and tend to our grief, feeling the deep well of love that rises up even in the pain and sorrow and tears, in our remembrances of who and what we have lost. May we allow gratitude to also expand within us. May we remember that even in our sadness, everything is beautiful. That the heart makes a duet of wonder and grief. Help us notice that wonder all around us. How the light spraying through the lace of the fern is as delicate as the fibers of memory forming their web around the knot in our throats. How the breeze makes the birds move from branch to branch, as this ache makes us look for those we've lost in the next room, in the next song, in the laugh of the next stranger. In the very center, under it all, may we never forget what we have that no one can take away. And then there in that center, in all that we've lost, even when we feel adrift, punctured, let us also feel that holiness that exists inside everything. As our sadness ebbs and flows, may we see the beauty everywhere as our hearts grow with gratitude. In the name of all that is holy, we pray. Amen. Grief wants to come out, and one of the beautiful ways to tend to that expression of grief is through song. So I will invite us to rise and embody your spirit as we sing together our closing song, hymn 128 in the gray hymnal, For All That Is Our Life, words also on our screens. Friends, the grief has risen to the surface. Be tender with yourselves. Resist the urge to push it back and push it down. Recognize that even though we're going to have a big meeting, that grief will still be in your body. And so I want to take some time today to sit quietly, to take a walk, to do what you need to do, to not let it go away, but kind of let it keep coming out of you. I'll invite you to place your hands over your heart for a closing blessing. These are adapted words from Linda Hogan, Chickasaw poet and author, offering us this indigenous wisdom. Walking, let us listen to a deeper way. All our ancestors behind us. Be still, they say. You are the result of the love of thousands. You are the result of the love of thousands. Blessed are we all. Go in peace.